James Wilkinson, the Marketing Director at Supercharged Commerce. We're an agency that helps accelerate the growth of ambitious retailers. And I'm joined today by Chris Edge, who's one of our partners, Klevu. Hi, Chris.
Hi, James. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Good to have you with us today. So the topic we're talking about is why are your search visitors the most important to your website? So do you want to just explain a little bit about what Klevu does?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. I head up the customer success team at Klevu. And if you don't know who we are predominantly known as an on-site search solution, working mostly with e-commerce companies. So what we do, we watch what people search for on your site. We add a level of machine learning, and we automatically merchandise with that machine learning to understand what it is people are looking for, make sure we put the right products in front of them at the right time, and that's then much more likely for them to find the product they want, select it, and check out.
Excellent. So the perfect person to have then to help us understand why our search visitors are the most important on our website.
It's a bold statement. It's and I can kind of understand why people will be a little bit skeptical when somebody that works for a company that sells on-site search solution does this, and kind of maybe fairly loaded. But luckily, you don't have to take my word for it. You can look in your analytics tool. So in Google Analytics, for example, where we have this here. Lots of people may not know where this is, but Google actually has an entire section dedicated to on-site search. So it's down the menu on the left-hand side. It's under behavior, site search, and there are 4 options there. So it gives you an overview of what your searches are doing, what the top searches are, for example. The usage is really interesting. It will show you and segment all the data from people who search that don't search. So as you can see, when we look into the site search usage, this is where we separate out people that do searches that don't. An interesting fact that you can pick up here is that although about 8% of people are actually using the search, they actually contribute about 30% of the revenue. Their average order value is higher. The e-commerce conversion rate is higher. And one of the key metrics that we look at is the per session value. So what actual pounds and pence do people that search generate for your site? So you can see here, they are kind of factors more than people who don't search.
Yeah, definitely. And what we found from looking across our kind of group of clients, we can see that on average 17% of the time the site search is used on the website. So it's still quite a small proportion really in terms of the overall traffic. But when you look at the conversion rate, you see on average we see around 7% conversion rate for users that use site search versus the standard 2% of people that don't. So it's obviously, like we're kind of saying, those visitors coming from search are much more engaged, much more likely to buy. But it's not always a good experience, is it?
No, it's not. And I think it's because, site search it's inherently hard. People, let's say, have a fashion site, they do a search on the site, they search for dress, you see dresses being returned. And you don't think there's a problem with the site search. But if you look at the slide here, this is all the different ways that people could particularly search for a dress. So if I'm looking, what does the search return if I'm looking for a vintage sundress, for example, or a silk party dress, a crossover jersey dress? There's lots of different ways that people actually search on the site. And I think that the real crux, and we can see on this slide here, is the majority of your searches will be kind of one-word phrases. So they'll be looking for shoes. We can kind of then see this falling away to 2 to 3 word phrases. But what we see in, not just site search, but SEO in particular, is the more descriptive the phrase is. So red Nike men's running shoes, the more likely they are to convert. And if you take that example into, you know, a real world store, if I went to Halfords and I was looking for, let's say, a Shimano gear set for my bike, and I walked in and told the cashier that was what I was looking for, and they just sent me off to the Shimano section of their site, which lots of people do when people type brands and that type of thing in. I'm more likely to just walk out and kind of go off to a competitor, somebody that understands the term that I've looked for, has the product that I've got. So it's a similar thing with your on-site search. When you tail off from those kind of headline searches, this is where the most valuable customers are. So you need to be putting the most relevant products to them at that time, and you're much more likely to convert.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know from our side, when we're looking at advertising and PPC, you know, you really want to be visible for those long tail keywords because there's an intent to buy. So to then not have that visibility on the website search seems like a missed opportunity, really.
Exactly, it is. Yeah.
So how can people use this data that they're going to get then from Google Analytics to improve site search?
So lots of different things here. So on the slide that you can see now, we've got, you know, trends and top searches. So hopefully, you know, when you're looking at this, these shouldn't be too much of a surprise to you. It should be justifying what it is that people are kind of coming along and searching for. They should be very familiar with you. But what you want to do is make sure these keywords are relevant. Make sure you've got the right products. These are kind of optimized because they're getting a lot of eyeball. They're getting a lot of people searching for them. So kind of make sure that, that these are coming back. Often we can see things in here that may be a surprise to us. So we've got highlighted here sheds. So these guys, they sold one or two sheds, but when they saw that, you know, nearly 200 people a day were coming in and looking for sheds, they were able to use this to feedback to the business saying, hey, maybe we should be expanding out more into sheds and getting a greater range. And I think kind of one very interesting scenario I've come across, you know, at Klevu and other places, we work with a whole range, you know, just about every vertical out there in e-commerce has a site search. And I was working with one client who were in the adult toy industry, and you know, you can probably guess the kind of weird and wonderful keywords that people search for there. But when they were starting to look at this, they started to realize a few keyword terms that were becoming more popular, but they hadn't heard of this before. So they put this out to their merchandising team. One of their merchandisers had read the book 50 Shades of Grey. So just as that kind of worldwide phenomenon was taking off, they realized there was an opportunity here to kind of capitalize on that. They approached the publishers, and they became the worldwide global distributors for the 50 Shades of Grey products. So from just seeing, you know, kind of small things turning up here, investigating what they are, you may be seeing kind of seasonality coming early and that type of thing. It just kind of helps you get ahead and understand what people are looking for right at the very top level of the keyword searches.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely is about, I suppose, looking at that data, trying to spot those big trends that are coming out, changes, and trying to move on them quickly. So what else could people look at as well in the analytics data?
Yeah, you touched on it earlier, you know, PPC and the slides that we've got here. We've taken this data from one of our electronics retailers. It's kind of the daily revenue they were getting from specific searches. Now, these guys are spending a fortune on PPC, on Acer, Lenovo, and kind of Chromebooks. Very highly competitive phrases. They cost a lot to generate a click. And when they looked at this data, what people actually searched for and the amount of revenue that this brought back, they saw some interesting results. So they saw people were looking for silver laptops, pink netbooks, quad-core laptops, that type of thing. So they looked at this, and the interesting thing is that people who search on your site tend to use the same type of language that they do on Google. So they were able to take this information, reduce their PPC spend on the kind of the brand keyword terms, put them into more descriptive things, because they know when they get people onto the site searching for words like this, they're much more likely to convert. They've got a definite idea what they're looking for. So you kind of, you a few steps of the way of already getting them through the process.
That's really interesting, especially because anything that's got a brand like that is going to be a higher cost per click. So it's good to know that the data you're finding from site search can feed into that PPC strategy and optimizing where you'd probably focus more for maybe organic versus paid.
Absolutely. So it can feature into so many parts of the site. So certainly use this information for SEO optimization as well. Like I say, because it's relevant. Google, finds these longer term keywords. If you're optimized for that, you're going to do quite well within the index.
Great. And so what else could e-commerce managers do to help improve the actual on-site journey with search itself?
So I guess kind of the key thing that you don't want is somebody coming onto your site and finding products that or ending up on a zero results page, or finding products that they're not really relevant. They have kind of a poor click-through rate. So on the slide here, there's a kind of a couple of examples of how this can be affected. So the ones in pink, so day beds and futons, they were having either zero results or a very poor click-through rate. But in actual fact, they had a big range of sofa beds. It's just that the way that some people search for particular products are not the way that you attribute them, and it's not the way that your search index presents them on the screen. So it may not know what a day bed or a futon is. By using things like synonyms, you can kind of combine all of these three terms together. So once the search index knows that a day bed and a futon are also similar products to a sofa bed, we can make sure that we get products back to them. They avoid that zero results. They're then more likely to find something that they're interested in and go on and purchase it. And the ones in bold there, so you can see the Hypnos, the Simba, the Sleep Easy, these are just brands that they didn't sell. But again, if we're seeing lots and lots of people searching for the same things, searching for particular brands, you may want to put it out there to your buying team to go and look for those brands. Or you may want to try and retarget them. You may want to say, hey, we don't sell Hypnos or Sleep Easy. Here's our range of similar products to them. So again, rather than seeing zero results, they're back off to Google, they're looking at a competitor. All about trying to re-merchandise, keep them on the site, keep them engaged, and hopefully get that sale.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, if people are getting those zero results, we can even create a remarketing audience to try and get users back to the site if we then fix the issue of trying to serve them some results. So yeah,
absolutely.
And I mean, with site search, a lot of the time on commerce, it's only products that show up, but there's obviously a lot more that we might want to show users or they're looking for.
Okay, so many times as a merchandiser, so web owners and that kind of thing, you're very aware of what your products are. You are the experts in your products, and you invest a lot of time in writing articles, in writing blog posts, in being the thought leaders in your space. So why not, if somebody is on your site, surface that information? So let's say, for example, I've come on to Sous Chef. I'm attempting to make a dish at the weekend that I'm not familiar with. It involves truffles. So if I come on and search for truffle, for example, you'll see again, and we'll come on to type heads in a second. I've got lots of information, different categories, different products. If I actually execute the search on this site, now obviously they want to sell products, so kind of make the products the main focus. But what you'll see here, I don't know anything about truffles. I've come on, should I be using white truffle oil or black truffle oil? Well, actually, we've got a section here on all of the articles. So I can look at what these are all about. I can see what different types of truffles there are. Does it go with mushrooms, etc.? So I'm now more likely to do my research on here. I'm more likely to understand what I need, and I'm then more likely to go ahead, go back to the products, and actually click the product that I want, go ahead and kind of check out and that type of thing. So if you have this data, it's always useful to bring it when a relevant keyword has been searched for, so that you're engaging your users and you're putting the right products at them at the right time.
And that's really good, because I know that from some of our clients, it's difficult to sometimes surface some of that content that's really useful and will aid the purchase process, because it's 3 or 4 clicks away or 4 or 5 levels deep in the navigation to get to it.
Exactly. So again, we've used the example of articles there, but there's also things like reviews. So let's say, for example, I'm on Toolstop, I'm looking to buy a DeWalt product. So as I go in again, I start to search, and I start to get, as we recognize the term, I start to get particular merchandising things towards me. And as I complete it, let's say that it is the DeWalt XR. Now I can see already here, I've got DeWalt XR pages in here. I may want to click on that, kind of read all about it, what it is. This is what I'm looking to purchase. What does it mean? What are they? I can watch videos, etc. And once I've kind of done that, I can then go back and do my search again. And you can see, again, once I go into the XR range, I've got lots of different products here. I've got the XR products here. I've got the pages. And if I execute my term, I should then be able to see all of the relevant products underneath here as well. So, you've got this content, use it, surface it at the right, in a timely manner, and you're much more likely to get somebody to convert.
Yeah, definitely, especially if it's all about making it easier for the user to find what they're looking for. And so I suppose, what does more super optimized look like on search?
So as you know, we've seen a couple of examples here where, we've got autocompletes in action. We can actually start to take that a step further. So if I look at someone like Bulletproof, they're a company that sell kind of lots of power foods, the coffees and the proteins and that type of thing. So just a different example of how you can use autocomplete. So we know that people who are searching are looking for something. So give them as much opportunity to find them. We bring straight on click trending products. What's hot on the site right now? What are people looking for? We've got popular searches, so I can drive them specifically down that path now. But again, if I start searching for zinc, my products start to change straight away. My page results start to change straight away. My suggestions bring categories and that type of thing back. So all within 4 keystrokes, I may have found exactly the product that I'm looking for. And just take that back. So within 4 keystrokes, I may have found exactly the product that I'm looking for. I click on it there. I avoid the search page completely. I'm now adding to basket and checking out. We can look at other things. So, if you come onto the site, you may have seen something in a magazine or an online advert or something like that. So made.com, for example, I come on here. Again, as soon as I activate the search, I can see popular products. I can see what's trending right now. But in my head, maybe it was a sofa. And I can start to look at this and I think, it kind of wasn't that. So when I get kind of really deep into this, it could be that it was a green sofa. And we're bringing products back here, but with wooden legs. So now we're using kind of natural language processing in here to understand that I'm looking for a green sofa. So the color has to match green with wooden legs. And as you can see here, we brought all of the green sofas with wooden legs back for, actually, this is the sofa that I was looking for. So we've used natural language processing to get people here to directly the pages that they want. And kind of taking that on further, if I come to Cox & Cox, so these are a client that originally had this on their mobile, so it's voice activated search. So as we all have, you know, the Alexas and the Google Homes, we're becoming a bit more familiar with voice technology, with interactions. So certainly on mobile, it's a little bit more popular, but on the desktop, if I give this a click, Christmas trees, you'll see that it's detected the phrase that I'm looking for. It's turned it into a search phrase. It's shown me lots of Christmas tree products. It's shown me suggestions about Christmas trees, Christmas tree categories, then also some other links to, you know, how we can help you and that type of thing. So by using kind of this more advanced technology, it's all about, you know, getting the right product in front of the right people at the right time to make a purchase.
Definitely. And also it's the speed as well at how it's surfacing those results. I love how even when you were just typing about the sofa with green sofa with wooden legs, just how fast the results were showing underneath. Whereas traditionally you have to wait for that search to load a page and then you have to filter it. So yeah, it's just going to make things a lot easier for users. Excellent. Well, thanks, Chris. I've got a couple of questions for you. If you're ready.
Go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
Cool. So if you're an e-commerce manager that's watching this and you've gone into analytics, had a look at the data and it's not necessarily showing that search is performing great, what would you say to that e-commerce manager about how they can get that prioritized in their business, position it to senior management to get some investment?
Yes, I guess, you know, if it's not performing search, then there's not performing well, then there's obviously something wrong with the search. You know, as we showed in the first few slides, you should be seeing kind of volumes more, conversion rates higher, average order values higher, per session values higher, because they are, you know, considered engaged users. They've got an idea in their mind what they're looking for. So I would say that there's probably something wrong with the site search there. But obviously, look at some of the examples we've got here. Look into the data. Invest time into search is what I could do. You know, you don't need particularly Klevu to start making optimizations like this. But what I would say is it's so much easier to take a section of something like site search and move the needle on conversion rate from 4% to 5% to 7% than it is for your entire site to go from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5% conversion rate uplift. So kind of look at this in a silo, look at the optimizations you can make, and look at some more advanced features potentially and how they can help the site and aid conversion.
Great. And also, actually, I was going to mention that if when you go into analytics, your site search isn't tracking anything, then it just needs to be set up. But if you send us a message, we'll be able to help you with giving you where that information is.
Absolutely. It's a really, you know, it may look daunting. You know, I set my analytics up. It's really easy. You know, it's in the admin panel of Google Analytics. It's just that you just need to know the query parameter that your platform is using. It's usually a single word character, or it could be something like search term, but really easy. Input that in there, hit enter, and Google will start tracking it for you.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And so do you think we're ever going to see a day where the majority of users to the website are using site search?
It'd be great for Klevu when that day comes. I think we are still, you know, about 20% is, you know, about the norm of, you know, people looking for search. But all of our clients now, mobile is the predominant device that people are looking on. It's much more intuitive to search. We've had a lot of our clients, you know, more or less their homepage of their mobile site is just a search bar. So yeah, again, with things like voice activators and things like that, we're getting much more in tune to that. So I can kind of see that carrying on further. But yeah, I think the trend is on an upward rise, and I think the more people start to realize the value of people that search, I think we'll see a lot more traffic being targeted towards it.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you're going to convert higher for people that use it, why wouldn't you prioritize it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I suppose more of a future question for you here. What is next in site search, do you think?
Yeah, great question. I say we have voice search now. We're seeing more growth in that. I'd like to see more. I think as people become more in tune to actually voice activated devices, this will become a more popular thing. As natural language processing becomes more sophisticated, you are more likely to search for green sofas with wooden dressers and that type of thing. So I think, what kind of the strides that we're making here in making sure we've got all this attributional data can make search, more richer. People find what they're looking for easier. Things like guided digital assistants, going way beyond, the old, what are my opening times, and kind of pumping that out. Very often it's difficult to tell now whether or not you're interacting with an AI bot or a real person. I think there's lots of things happening in AI that are really exciting and can really feed into lots of data and make sure that the products that you're looking for, or the answers that you're looking for, if it's order tracking and things like that, you can get quickly and easily on your website.
Excellent. The AI side of things sounds very exciting, just because, like you said, it's difficult to sometimes know whether you're actually talking with a bot or with actually a human. So
a little frightening as well at times.
Yeah, but ultimately it's serving the user what they're looking for faster, and it's trying to help. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out on site search as well. Great. Well, Chris, thank you very much for that. There were some really useful insights there that I think even somebody who's just at the beginning of their journey looking at how they can use site search could probably take away today and start to look at. So thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Really enjoyed it.
And also, everybody, thanks for joining us. And if you do have any questions, just let us know. And yeah, great to have you with us.